This is a quick recording demonstrating the basics of using Google Maps to customize and disseminate map elements that a user can place on a Google map. And we'll be using these in class in various ways depending on which class you're taking. But this is my spring semester 2018 update of how that process works. I'm doing it on the fly, so if there are a few bumps, please forgive me. But the basic idea is using Google Maps to actually record and convey information and building that into your skill base. So I'm in a browser here, and we're on the Google homepage, google.com. I think it's google.com. It's just the search page. And what we're going to do is, I am logged in, so you can see my little icon here, and there's my Google account. And what we're going to do is we're going to get to the maps piece. And so I'm going to click on maps, and this should be familiar to you if you've used Google Maps before. I'm not really sure why my little wireless tag is up there, but that's fine. And on Google Maps, we can, of course, switch to the satellite view, just like that. And we can switch back to the map view. And the default, there are default things that show up in a Google map. And there's the Magic Hat Brewery, for example. And there's the Mill Deli, which are, these are paid placements. Some of the placements, I'm not sure if they're paid or not, but there's Overlook Park. That's a sort of recreational placement. And you can see how these little things show up. Here's Heritage Automotive Group. And if we click on one, we'll just click on Heritage. You'll see that it opens a panel to the left-hand side of the screen, and there's a photograph, and this one has been custom built. It's got some information on it. In it, it's got some popular times and so on. You can send it to your phone, you can share it. But we're not that interested in those things. Down here, there are some other choices, and those include just sort of bumping things up and looking for photos that are in the sort of, there are photos of this inside of the default layer of Google, where those little icons come from. And some of them are connected with the icons, and some of them are just random photos, and I'm not really sure how they get placed in here, but there you go. So we can make that little panel disappear. There are also some other, and I can't get my little internet thing. Let's see if I can get that to go away. Yes. Oh no, I can't. But there are some others, including Street View, and so we can, for example, drop ourselves right on the street outside of the Magic Hat Brewery, and it will take us right down there. And we're looking, if we turn around, we should, with a bit of luck, be able to see that is the Magic Hat Brewery right there. You can see there's even one of their vans. So we're going to go back to the regular map, and so you get yourself oriented, and I think that many of you have done this before. No worries, that is one way of doing things, but we're not interested in that for this particular exercise. I'm actually going to zoom out a little bit so you can get a sort of broader view, and we're going to click on this menu button, and you'll see that a whole bunch of things show up. Satellite, traffic, bicycling, switching the view to terrain. There are some notifications. You can share your location. You can look at your contributions, the timeline of them. There's a whole bunch of things here, but I don't need you to focus on any of those. All I want you to focus on is your places. When we click on that, it will say, what are your places? And you can put your home and work in. You can have a set of saved places. You can rack up places that you visited. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at maps. And what will happen when you click on maps is if you've made any maps or maps have been shared with you, you'll see a bunch of maps here. These are some of mine. I have a bunch of them. We don't need to know about me. You can see though that I started working on a sewage map, but you don't get to click on that at the moment. We're going to click on create map. And what we're doing here then is we're actually creating a new Google map that we can then, or you can, share with other Google users. And what I'm going to demonstrate here is how to put stuff on the map. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to choose some locations and then drop points, lines, and polygons on those locations. And given that you've already had a mini lecture on GIS, in all likelihood, and in all likelihood you've used some kind of cloud-based GIS, this little row of things right here, the pan tool or the select items tool, add a marker, draw a line, this one, add directions, I don't think we'll have. This one, measure distances and areas. I don't think we'll use that a little bit, but I'm not sure we'll use that in this particular demonstration, although I might try it. Okay, so what we have in this map is we have it's untitled at the moment, so we can click on that and we can give it a title, and I'm going to call it Water Test Map. And we're going to add a description. This is a test demonstration, and I'm going to save that information, and you'll see it changes here. And what happens is Google is saving this in my Google Drive, and it does it frequently. You'll notice here that we have something called an untitled layer, and that's this is where Google Maps is operating as a GIS. And so I'm going to change that untitled layer to, trying to think of what I want to put on here. Why don't I put fracking sites? I don't know if I'll find any, but that's what we'll do for now. Now we can import places into this layer, and we can do that from a spreadsheet or from what's called a Google Sheet, but we're not actually going to do that importation route. We're not going to go that importation route in this particular demonstration. We're going to manually put some things on the map. So just ignore that for now. One other thing that we can do is we can choose the base map that shows. So right now we've got the default, but we could choose, let's just try a couple, the dark landmass choice, the white water choice, which means that water bodies show up in white. So you can see the Great Salt Lake here. You might be able to see Lake Champlain just slightly right there. You can see the Great Lakes and so on. We can choose the, forgotten what this one is, the Mono City. The satellite is using imagery from Google Earth. We can also use the map view, and we can use what's called the terrain view, which I think is the default, the terrain view. Down here at the back, at the bottom is light landmass, and then this one I think is light political. And so sometimes they give you the map, they let you have it very pale, and you can change these. And when someone opens the map that you create, they will see what all you've, which map you've chosen. Losing my way there a little bit. Okay. Oops, my wireless has dropped and then picked up again. I hate my internet, don't tell anyone. It should be okay. So let's see. I'm actually going to, just in case, I'm going to reload this page. Let me just do that, make sure we're good. We should be. There we are. And we're going to now work on things. I'm going to go full screen again with F11 and get a bit more real estate. And I'm going to change the base map to satellite. And now we're going to start looking for things. And first of all, let me just demonstrate the random place mark. So for example, if I went to Garden City, Kansas, and I'm just going to go to, you'll see that this is a sort of clear link to the geography of water here. You'll see that this sort of mosaic of circles is all over the place. And I'm just going to drop a point, and watch how I do this. I'm going to drop a point here. It's called add a marker, and I'm just going to click on it, and now the cursor changes to a cross, and I'm just going to drop it in one of these crop circles, so to speak. Boom, right there. And what that does is it opens up what I call a bubble. And so I'm going to go into the bubble, and I'm going to put crop circle. And in this box, we can type some information like this is a crop circle created by irrigation technology called center pivot. And if we wanted to, we could save that. And now we have, in this layer called fracking sites, we have a point called crop circle, and we can actually click on this little can, and we can change the color of our icon, and we can also actually change the icon itself. And I don't know if there's one that we really want to put on here, but let's just put a heart on just for kicks, and we're going to say okay, and now it's a purple heart. And what we can also do is we can also add a photograph. So we can click on this add image, and now we get another box that opens up. We got a whole bunch of choices here. So it's telling us we could upload an image by selecting a file or dragging it on. We can take an image from our webcam. We can give it an image URL. If you've got photos embedded in Google through, I think, Picasa, you can click on there. You can use Google Drive. You can use a Google image search. You can even search for YouTube and embed a video. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Google image search, and I'm going to put in, let's actually put center pivot irrigation gear. And I'm going to press return, and we've ended up with a bunch of motors. So let's just get rid of gear, see if we get some, these are the kinds of things I might like. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pick one of these images. I'm going to select it, and now my bubble, if I save it back, my bubble will look like this when people click on it. Right, so if I close it and then I click on it, you'll see it will appear like that. And you can add multiple pictures, and you can also add a video. And so let's try just to add a video from YouTube. I don't think they let you add your own videos, but of course, since you can put it up in YouTube, like I do with some of these videos, you can always incorporate your own little video if you want to. So let's look for center pivot. Oops, irrigation. do the same, exactly the same thing. And there's something here that says center pivot, moving a center pivot. How about this? Introduction to center pivot irrigation for agriculture. I'm going to select that. I'm going to put it in. I'm going to save it. And now our image, our little bubble, has a photograph, but it also has a video that goes along with it. And we've saved it back and we're good. It also gives us the location in decimal degrees. And we can change the style here just the same way we did in a second ago. In the menu, we can also change it when we're creating the place mark itself. So I've changed it to that. I'm happy. We're good. And now our layer here says fracking sites. And look what happens if I switch the layer off. It goes away completely, and then it comes on. So we've now put on a point, and life is good. Life is good. And we can actually do some funky things here. We can have our points have individual styles, or we could have them be a sequence of numbers. And so now we have, this is point number 1. Let's just close that up. But if we wanted to put on another point in the same area, we could just click on here. And when we add that marker, it's going to sequence it as point number 2. And so we could call that, I'm just making this up, a dry circle. And put some text in. Here's a dry circle. And we can save that back. And you get the idea that what's actually happening is we're building a layer here of points. And you can create 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you don't like that sequence of numbers idea, you can change it back to individual styles, which will take it back to the default. You can go back to sequence of numbers. And there are a number of different things you can do. I know that you used to be able to do sequence of letters. Let's try uniform style. Oh, that just means they're all the same. Sequence of numbers. You may not be able to do sequence of letters anymore, but you used to be able to. And that's one of the things that happens with these cloud-based things is they change. So we have now got a couple of points on the map. And we got this one, we got this one. You'll notice when they're active, a little sort of thing comes around them, a little circle. And we got that going really well. It's perfect. And maybe what we want to do is we want to add a line that we can attach information to. And so let's click on draw a line. And we're going to add a line or shape. And I'm just going to follow this road. I'm just going to try to get right on this road. Ooh, there we go. To the place where it turns. There it is. I'm actually going to double click it. And it opens a bubble. It's called line 3. We're going to edit that. And we're going to call it road track. And we're going to write on this. This is tracking a road. And we could add a picture. And we could get it from image search. And we could put rural road, Kansas. We'll search it. And there's some pictures of rural roads, none of which are our road, but who cares? We'll select this one, we'll put it in, and now we have it says line 3 because it's numbering things, but I don't think we're caught by, let's save it back, and it gets us some stuff out of the way, and then let's edit it, and it should be called road track. There it is, we didn't save it back. So now we've got, let's save it back now, we've got crop circle, dry circle. You'll see the map moves around when you click in the menu. We've got crop circle, so we can actually build some information right here. Does that make sense to everybody? And the key thing about this is we did it all in a layer called fracking sites, and we can switch that layer off and we can switch that layer on. And here it has some layer options. We can rename the layer, delete the layer, and we can also open a data table which tells you what data we've attached to each point. And what we've attached is a little bit of text and some pictures. And if we had used a table of data using a spreadsheet, this would open that spreadsheet. So we're good. But we're not done yet, because what I'd like to do is demonstrate something else. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to add another layer. And so now, do you see our fracking sites is right here? We're going to switch that off. It's going to compress the thing. And now we've got an untitled layer, and I'm going to call this trying to think of things. I do these things on the fly, and then I'm not really thinking. Let's try Amtrak stations. Amtrak stations. And we'll save that back. And now we've got a layer called Amtrak station. So there's nothing in it. But what we want to do is find some Amtrak stations and maybe add in a picture or two or whatever we want to do. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to do a search. And I want to pick, I'm going to pick an Amtrak station that I know, which is Amtrak in Williston, North Dakota. I'm going to make a search. And guess what? It's taken us to the Amtrak station in Williston, North Dakota. And you'll notice here that this is in the search box. This is in the search box. And sometimes what happens is there's information about what I've searched for, right? There's information in there which includes an address, a phone number, and we can actually add that to our map. And so let's do that. So we're going to add it to the map, and notice it opens a bubble, and the only thing in the bubble is this information, right? That's the only thing in the bubble, but we can edit the bubble, and we can put this is our place mark for the Williston ND Amtrak, and we could put contact details, and I cannot type, are below, and we could save that back. And now we've got Williston Amtrak, and we've got our little text, and we've got some details, but let's also put a photo in. And we're going to use the Google image search. I'm going to say Amtrak, Williston, ND, and we're going to see if it comes up with an image. And it does. There used to be an older station. They built a fancy new one. I'm not sure whether that's it. Panorama photo. I'm going to pick that. It's from a photo sharing. And now we've got the Amtrak station. Let's save it back. And that's our bubble. And we might want to change that to a sequence of numbers. And we might want to make those numbers red so that if we have both layers on, we know what we're doing. Close that up. And we can do this in a way that is a combination of search information, but also information that we add. And I think you get the idea here. Oh, one more thing we need to do. Forgot. Let's move around here. I'm actually going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to try to get outside of Williston, North Dakota, which is an oil boom town because of fracking. And I'm going to try to go out on a road. Yeah, this one will do. So we're outside of Williston. I don't know if you notice here that there's a road, but also these like, do you see these? These like sandy colored squares. You see if we go along, do you see these sandy colored squares are sort of all over the place? See them down here? There's some sandy colored squares. And we go a little bit further away, you'll see there are more sandy colored squares. You gotta follow a road to find them. Usually they're the ones, they're not right on the road, they just have this little lane away from them. Well, most of these are fracking sites. And we can go down in, and we'll go to, so let's see if we can go to this one. And what we're going to do is we're going to see how close we can get. Oh, we can get in quite close. And this is a fracking site. And what we're looking at here is, these are a bunch of tanks. This looks like a site that's already been fracked. We don't see a lot of trucks here bringing in water. Let's just zoom in some more. You can see that this is a site that has produced oil, and you can actually see the oil jacks here. These are pumping the oil out of, here looks like 4 wells that have been fracked. So we've actually found a fracking site here. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go back to my fracking layer, right? I'm going to make that oops, I'm editing it. I'm going to go back into that layer. And all I want to do is, I want to add, I want to make a place mark for this, but I want to just cover it as a shape. I actually want to do it as a polygon that's actually going to cover this approximately. When I get back to my first point, if I double click, it's made a polygon, and now we're in the same business, right? We're in the, let's zoom out a little bit. We're in the same business where we can now edit this bubble. So if we edit it, we could call it fracking location. And we can put a note in. This is a fracking location in North Dakota near Williston. It's for oil, not gas, and looks to be in production. And we don't have evidence of how that oil is being taken off-site. We'd have to do a little bit more research on that. And let's put in a fracking site. Let's just look what we have. And we might be able to put a picture that shows a fracking site. Let's try one from North Dakota. See if it gives us a different set of pictures. And let's just pick this one. Okay, so now we got a picture of what's going on, and I'm going to save that back. And so you can see now that what we've got over in the left hand window is we've got a crop circle, a dry circle, a road track, and a fracking location. And notice when we made this polygon, it gave us the area in acres, and it's also given us the perimeter, which is kind of nice, right? I mean, it's given us some information, and if we wanted to, we could change the color of this, make the color. It's going to change the color of all of the icons because we're using a sequence of numbers. So if we made it purple, back to purple again, you'll see. And we can adjust the width of our line a little bit. Remember the line we created, that road track? We can also adjust the border of this, and we can make this a little bit more transparent or completely opaque. And I want it sort of transparent to about there. So we know it's there when we see it on a map. So that feel pretty good to people? I hope so. Okay, so we'll close this up and we're all set. You see it says all changes saved in Drive. We've got 2 layers. Let's switch the Amtrak stations off and let's close this up. So what we've done is we've operated on our map in a number of different ways. And so if we click on crop circle, it's going to take us right back to Kansas, and it's going to take us back at the same level of zoom we had a minute ago. If we go to dry circle, I can't remember if it was dry. Oh, well, sort of. We're there. If we go to the road track, there's the road track we had. And if we go to our fracking location, it's going to take us right back there. And so if you want to tell a story where you actually take people to different areas of the landscape, this is the way to do it. And you'll see that I'm actually going to ask you to do some of this. Let's use the measure tool just so we know what's going on. If we use the measure tool and we put a line down, it's actually measuring the distance. Right now that's measuring the distance in feet. I don't know if that changes. I don't know if that changes based on the scale you're at. Let's put it back to the pan tool and let's zoom out. It's still got that 700 feet in there. Not sure why that's on there, but let's try. Oh, and it does. So it's a scale dependent measure depending on how far you're zoomed in. So that's actually measuring miles and total miles. And if we try for, let's keep using the measure tool, try for a measure that is a polygon. Go back to the beginning, double click. I don't know what it did there. They've changed that a little bit. Anyway, what we've got is a measure tool. We've also got these directions. We don't need to use these for this map. So what have we done here? Well, what we've done here is we've made a couple of layers in Google Maps and we've selected a particular base map. Let's just go back to crop circle. It takes us right back there and you can see where we are. We had crop circle and dry circle and they're both showing, right? And so we're good. And if we click away from the icons, that sort of you're using this icon goes away. And so what we can do now with this map is we can actually share it. And I want to show you what sharing means. When you click on sharing, it's going to give you a link right here. And what you can do at that point is you can alter who has access. So if you click on change, you can click on anyone who has a link. We can save that back. You see it says anyone who has the link can view. I'm the owner, right? But you can also invite people right here, and so you can put names in, right? And so if I were asking you, and you can give people permission to edit or just permission to view. Do you see that? So that's the view and that's the edit. And then you put people's names and addresses, their Google ID, and then it will notify people. And you can add a message that says, here's the map we're going to work on. And you'll see later on that that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to ask you to send me information about your map. And then we'll do a group map together and we will continue to use this as we like later on in the class. Now I can also prevent editors, right? I can also prevent editors from changing the access and adding new people. So I can say, yeah, you can work on it, but you can't add anybody else to work on it. And then I can save changes, and those are the settings, and that's the link I need to share. Right? That's the link I need to share. And you can share the link via your Gmail. You can share it on Facebook. You can tweet it out. And that's the way it works. And you should practice that. I'm done with the sharing settings. I think also we can also embed this, and I can't remember where we get the choice to embed. It's not there. Let's just try here. New map, copy map, embed on my site. So if I want to embed this on a website or in a blog, if I click on that, we have to embed it. It has to be a public map because it's going to be on the web, and you need to be able to have anyone look at it. And that's something I don't think we will do in this class. We might, but for now, let's just stick with being able to share it. Right, so there's the share, and you saw me make the settings. So one more thing we want to do is we just want to preview this. So let's preview the map. We click on preview, and now it's opening it not as an editable map, but now it's opening it in Google Maps. Right, and it isn't opening it in the default Google Maps. And so this is a particular kind of rendering of the map. And you can still zoom in and out, but you'll notice that there's no street view and those other things that were on the original Google Maps. Because what this is a map that I've designed for you to use. Okay, and this is that when it's in view mode only, this is how it will look. If I give you editing permission, when you will click on edit, and you'll get a chance to do that. We'll dismiss this flag here, and that's how our map will look. And I can't remember. Yeah, there it is. If we click on collapse the map legend, we have we still get access to our Google little apps matrix and notifications. But now we're in the map, and so now if we click on this, you'll see that when it opens, it doesn't open in a bubble, it opens in a sidebar. And this is the icon that we created. So there's the picture, that's the name, it puts the name up there in color, that's our place mark, there are the details, and then it puts the photo below, and it's actually got 10 photos, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe Google grabbed by default a whole bunch more. And this is our map, right? This is the map we made, but you can also go into Google Maps, and that will give you access to things like Street View and so on. When you're done with this icon, you can click it over there. You can zoom in, and what's going to happen when we zoom in is that those icons that we made will separate eventually. There they are. And if we click on that, you'll see the panel will open up. There's a dry circle. This has one photo and one video. If we click on it, it will open a window. There's the photo. Scroll over. There's the video. We can press play. This looks like an ad. There we are. And let's go back. I've had enough of that. And so you get the idea here. Again, I'm going to go back here. And if we wanted to see the map legend overall, instead of searching on the map for the icons, you just click on it and it will take us, we can click to the Williston Amtrak. It'll take us right there on the fly. We can also go to our road track. It'll take us right there. We can also go to our fracking location, which is right there. And you have now created, or we've created an interactive map that's running quite nicely based on just a few minutes work. And again, we can collapse the map legend. We can look at the map details, just tells us right there. If we click on that, we can also print the map. We can copy the map. We can embed the map if it's public. And we can also, and this is something that's relatively new, and I'll give it a try just so that we can see what happens. But Google Maps now lets you, when you've made a map, download it as a KML file. And KML is, not to get fancy on you, but that's keyhole markup language. And keyhole markup language is the language of Google Earth. So if we click on it, it's going to give us a choice. Keep data up to date. Now let's use export to a KML file. We're going to say OK. And it's going to shoot down a KML file. Can you see it blinking in the bottom left-hand corner? And if I click on that, it's actually, with just a twist of luck, we'll see if it works. It's going to open Google Earth because I have Google Earth installed on this St. Michael's laptop. And it's going to open Google Earth. And you're going to see that what it does is it brings in our points. And if we let's see, if we scroll, if we click on this little down arrow, it's actually, I lost the location, there we are. It actually has our two layers as Google Earth folders, and here's our crop circle. And if we double click on it, it's actually going to take us to our crop circle right there. And you'll notice that what's happened is it's no longer the icon that we selected in Google Maps. That didn't port over properly. But what did port over was the photo, our text, and what it did was it stacked the video. And so it made the bubble a little bit different. And we don't need to know too much about that for today. But are you getting the idea that what Google is doing, if we go to our fracking location, there's the image. That just tells us there is a fracking location. It's opened the bubble. But if we double click on it, it's actually going to fly us there. It's not just going to go there. It's actually going to fly us there. And then there is our polygon right on the Google map. And if we click there, the bubble will open. Everybody getting the idea that there are some ways in which these things are connected to each other? Right. I'm going to go back. Whoopsie. I'm going to go back into the Google map because we opened it as a KML. And right here, do you see it says edit? I'm just going to click on edit. And it should take us right back to that screen where we were doing the editing. Does that make sense to everybody? And actually, what I'm going to do now, watch this. You'll see this on the video, and then you'll see it, I hope, inside of Canvas, the learning management system. So I'm going to change the share view. I'm going to make it public. And I've got it as can view, so anyone can view. I'm going to save that back. I'm done. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click on embed on my site. And you see here now that what it's created is some code. And I'm going to copy that, Control C. I'm going to say OK. And I don't know if I have Canvas open. I don't, but I can get it open pretty quickly. I'm going to make a new tab. Doing this on the fly here. So I'm burning up time. But I'm going to make a new tab and I'm going to go to the portal. It's going to make me log in. I'm going to go to Canvas. Oh, you can see I have 7,000 unread emails. Don't tell anyone. I'm going to go into Canvas and I'm going to choose your course. And I'm going to click on Pages. And I'm going to view all pages. You'll see there are more pages in here. I'm going to make a page. And I'm going to call this Google Map Share. And I'm going to go inside of the page right here. I'm going to switch it to HTML view and paste that code in. And it's got a default height here. Do you see it's got width 640, height 480. We could change that. But I'm going to switch to rich content. And guess what's appeared inside of Canvas? I'm going to center it. See if I can get that to center. Maybe not. In any event, I am going to save that and publish it. And there is the Google map right in Canvas, right in Canvas. But it looks a little bit different. And it's because it's a full screen thing. But take a look. We click on this, it's going to bring the menu out. And if we click on this, it's going to show us the same bubble that we created. But now it's an embeddable map using HTML coding. Okay, that is the end of this video, and you'll see in the learning management system that there'll be a link to this Google Map share as well as a link to the video. And thanks for watching.